Hello and welcome once again to Boomer 11 Live. And we have two matches, or we had two matches, but probably only one match is what we're going to be covering most of because there was only one match that came to a conclusion. Earlier in the morning, it was CSK versus LSG. LSG, after a terrible start in what seemed like Chennai's home ground with the crowd and the pitch. But then rain came in, played spoils, and the game ended 1-1 each after an Ayush Badoni comeback. But then the second match in the evening, it was a high scoring match. Mumbai Indians made mockery out of a target of 215 runs set by Punjab Kings. Not the best day for bowlers because only 7 wickets fell in 40 overs. And to discuss the match, I have with me Abel and Sandipani. Sandipani, over to you right away. There's something about this pitch, isn't it, where high scoring matches happen quite regularly. Even yesterday, I mean, rather, last night the match we played here. LSG romped to a 256 or 257, almost scaring RCB fans that their record will be broken. But today, once again, another 400 plus run scored today in 40 overs. How do you look at today's pitch, especially, and what do you reckon is the reason for this to happen? While Abel watches
Yeah, I
some
think it
memes, you
is.
can answer the question.
Yeah, I think it is. It is one
I
of
was
the
watching the first
flattest.
match.
Yeah, I think it is one of the flattest tracks for this IPL. I think it is on par with a Wankhede or a Eden Gardens. You have absolutely nothing for the bowlers, and sometimes it's just a punishment to ask them to come in, run in, and bowl at good pace, at a pace of 150. It's sad to see a bowler coming in at a pace of 150 and traveling at a pace of 140 and traveling for 100-meter boundaries. I think Liam Livingston, the way he smoked Jofra Archer today, I think Archer will on any other ground he would have probably been or had a better result. But I think one thing that separates this from an uh, absolute rubbish or mockery is the dimension of the grounds. I guess for IS Bindra, I think you still have larger boundaries, and since you have larger boundaries, the spinners can come in and they can play with the longer boundaries. And I think that is where Shikhar Dhawan missed a trick out there. He bowled 5 overs of spin, Harpreet Brar and Rahul Chahar. But then he could have probably got in 1 over from Liam Livingston, probably brought in 1 over from Rishi Dhawan as well in the middle. But not to criticize the Punjab Kings. I mean, you really don't have. Punjab Kings scored 200 in the last 3 games, but they have also gone on to concede well in excess of 200 in the last 3 games. And today, 215 in 19
Yeah.
overs, 257 in one games. So it's difficult, especially if you have a bowling lineup which you can boast of. You have a bowling lineup of Arshdeep Singh, Rabada, and then all. I mean, Nathan Ellis is. I expected Nathan Ellis to do pretty well in this track. He did. And I think Piyush Chawla's spell in the middle was the defining phase because Punjab Kings another 15-20 runs, 230, 235. I think they could have batted Mumbai out of this game. And also I think some of the bowling changes in between. But you can't say high scoring games, high entertainment, but really sad for the bowlers.
Absolutely. Abel, coming over to you now, we've had two low scoring matches. Today was supposed to be one as well, with probably LSG would have scored about 130 as well. But this has been that one pitch, I think, which has still remained true to its nature. It's not been as dry
Mm.
as some of the other pitches. But let's look at the Punjab Kings batting lineup right away. Jitesh Sharma and Liam Livingston, because I think Punjab didn't really have a great start. I mean, Shikhar Dhawan did have
Yeah.
30 of 20. Matthew Shot surprisingly wasted. I mean, played 26 deliveries to only score 27. Prav Simran too
Yeah.
didn't have the kind of start he's had this year. So Liam Livingston and Jitesh Sharma completely took over, and they did a very good job, isn't it? You would say, especially against this team. Talk me through their partnership and what really went right for them, because it was a pitch where the ball came onto the bat really well. You know, Liam Livingston is going to do well. But what I really love about Jitesh Sharma is his stroke play. He's got options all around the park. He's not an AB de Villiers or a Surya Kumar Yadav kind of a player, but he plays proper cricketing shots for runs. I mean, what is your take on him?
To be very fair, that partnership, right, which really took the score from being a 180 to 214, what we saw, was that defining partnership. And you felt most of the time during that partnership that this is a partnership which is going to define the game as well, because other 214 was a very good score at the end of the day. I can't really blame the batters because batters did a phenomenal job to score 214. And also, I felt during the first inning, the ball was sticking on the pitch a lot more than what you saw in the second innings, where the dew came into play. And one of the reasons why, it was much, much more easier to bat. But yeah, that partnership was deciding. And also, I have to say, Jitesh Sharma has been a phenomenal player throughout this IPL. We saw glimpses of him last season, but this season, I think he's taken a notch higher in terms of coming in and playing those cameos, coming in and trying to finish games off on consistent basis. It's one of the toughest things to do. To come and play 20 balls, score at a strike rate of 200, and he's been doing that very consistently, and that has been the silver lining for the Punjab team as well. I know they'll be hard done by the result today, but it also has to do a lot with the pitch and with the kind of conditions. Now what's going to be worrying for them is in the last three games they've considered 200 plus in all of these occasions. Though they won the last game against Chennai, but they did consider 200. They did concede 200 there. They did concede 257 previously, and once again 200. So this is going to be slight bit of worry for the Punjab Kings. They want to rectify it as soon as possible because it's not like they're a bad bowling unit. They've got the resources to really be a very decent bowling lineup and defend scores on consistent basis because that's been their strength, right? If you talk about Punjab Kings in the past as well, or in the first few games, you saw Sam Curran, you've seen Arshdeep Singh really step up in these kind of occasions and really do a job for them. Now, I personally think what's going to happen is maybe bring in Rabada more often. Today, Shikhar Dhawan went on to say that he played Nathan Ellis primarily because of the fact that the pitch he expected it to be a little more tackier and the pitch to stick on. Yes, it would have been if they were bowling first, but still, Rabada against an Ishan Kishan, against a Rohit Sharma. Rohit Sharma did not score a lot, but then I think Rabada still was a better option. At least with that extra bit of pace and experience, you could have troubled a lot more batters. But today, what you saw was just ridiculous batting pitch, man. I mean, you can't do a lot as a bowler as well. I know the ground dimensions are big, but then when you have such flat surfaces, such quick outfield, you get all offered for you the ones what you score. If you time the ball off the 30-yard circle, it races away into the boundary, and you saw that. But having said that, Mumbai Indians, kudos to them. They batted outstandingly today once again, chasing a score next of 210, and do it with so much more ease, right? You don't feel like they were in trouble at any point of the stage. They lost Rohit Sharma early, but then they made very sure that they were on a cruise control mode. Once again, Surya Kumar Yadav, Ishan Kishan, whom we have criticized a lot, has come into party. So that's a good news for Mumbai Indians as well.
Yeah, I mean, this is the kind of innings that we want Ishan Kishan to play, isn't it? We've criticized his strike rate for so long, but today he just seemed at his fluent best. This is exactly the reason why people say that Suryakumar Yadav can be a player for the future. But Sanjivan, I'll come to you. Let's start with the Mumbai Indians bowling lineup as well, because they have been very disappointing as well, isn't it? Because they've gone for plenty of runs. Today, again, Piyush Chawla, Kumar Kartikeya, I think two players who did a very good job. But aside from that, Jofra Archer has probably been their biggest headache. He's traveled for a lot of runs because when you have excess pace like he does, if you spray around the pitch, I mean, he's been slight unlucky as well, you'd have to say. I felt the Rajasthan game, he bowled exceptionally well. He was just that, he was unlucky very often. But today, you just felt like he wasn't at his best and he just kept bowling into the arc of Liam Livingstone and Jitesh Sharma.
Yeah, I think so. I mean, it was very difficult as a bowler to come in and excel in these conditions. But I think what Mumbai Indians and Rohit Sharma realized really well was that spin was going to be important, hitting the spinners out at the start, like Abel mentioned, a bit of stickiness in the surface. So the ball was holding up a bit. And then he just ran through that middle phase. Overs 5 to 12 just went in a ziffy, and they couldn't really capitalize on a Piyush Chawla. Every time the batter tried to take the attack on Piyush Chawla was just too good and got the better of a Shikhar Dhawan, of a Matthew Short. As I said, I think once I mean, if you play in these sort of surfaces, you can't really blame the bowlers. Having said that, you would expect at least in the first innings for them to nail some of the Yorkers. And yeah, I think Jofra Archer was not at his best, but I think today also he was unlucky as well because Jitesh Sharma, I'll not criticize the field. It was a difficult chance, but on 5 out of 10 occasions you see those sort of catches being taken as well. So if they could have taken that catch, which eventually ended up being a boundary, that was Jofra Archer's second over, and it was not even in the end, like later stages of the game. It was in the middle overs. So I think if they could have got Jitesh Sharma out back then, I think Punjab Kings bone marrow would have already been broken, and then you would have to rely on Sam Curran or a Shah Rukh Khan to score the runs quickly and then give you something to support Liam Livingston. So I think, yeah, Jofra Archer unlucky, but I think once again in this sort of surfaces, I won't really blame the bowlers. At the batters, if you are good enough, you will just capitalize on the conditions, and most of the batters did today.
Yeah, I mean, absolutely fair enough. But even my problem, I mean, my issue with this Mumbai Indians team is also the fact that it's not the first time that they are giving too many runs away, right? I mean, you can probably blame the fact that today the pitch was a very difficult pitch to play on, but they've been giving runs away like this for a long time, and that's really putting a lot of pressure on their batting lineup as well. It just seems like they are still a toothless bowling attack, despite having reinforced it in the this auction. What do you think is lacking in this bowling attack? You're seeing some of the spinners do a very good job, especially someone like even the youngsters. I know Ritik Shawking's had a few bad games, but then he's done a decent job as well. Kumar Kartikeya too, and Piyush Chawla has been just exceptional. But fast bowlers, which has been a strength of this Mumbai Indians team over the years, hasn't really come good, and especially Jofra Archer. What do you think is going wrong with it? Is it an issue where he's come back from injury and has taken time, or
Yeah, Jen, you have to also understand he's not really come back from injury. He's been a rhythm bowling for like 10 matches or 20 matches. You still have to give him the extra bit of leeway. Similarly, we have to give for every other fast bowler because, for a bowler who's so rhythmic like Jofra Archer, when he's unable to find that extra bit of rhythm, especially when he's running in and especially in his Willie's points, because he's had two close elbow injuries, right? I don't think he's in full rhythm. I know he's bowling good pace, but rhythm-wise, I still think he's yet to be there and thereabouts. So just give him a little bit more time. Maybe we can judge him maybe at the end of the year as to how he goes about if he plays the World Cup very good, or even if he doesn't. It's going to be tough for him at this point of stage to really judge him. And it was a flat track at the end of the day, not the ideal pitch to really judge someone like a Jofra Archer as well. He bowled well in occasions, but not consistent enough, and that's been the case with Jofra Archer throughout the season. I personally think they should now look into Jofra Archer, give him that extra bit of confidence, just back him. I know that he's going to come good at some game, and when the pitch is going to really help him, or when he's in some rhythm, he's going to come good because the skill set which he holds is not going to go away overnight, isn't it? So that's one thing which I can totally agree with you. So I think he will come good, and that's one factor about Jofra Archer which you need to consider as well. Number one. Number two, one other factor about Jofra Archer was what I feel is his wrist positioning is slightly off from what he was doing it previously. That was his biggest strength. When he was bowling in his absolute rhythm, his wrist position was one of his key highlights, which I think is slightly tapered off. I know I can't really pinpoint and say as to what is the reason behind it. That also could be because of the elbow, right? He had to position his elbow properly. He had to undergo a couple of surgeries after that. It's been a hard time for Jofra Archer, the bowler. So he's been on and off, due to various reasons. So I think, getting into these games, we shouldn't be judging him now. Maybe as we progress into the season, or as we talk about at the end of the year or next season when he comes back, if he's still unable to find something, then there should be something really wrong which could have affected him post-surgery. But now he's just finding the rhythm. Hi, Henning Finstead.
Absolutely, yeah. Yeah. Hi, Henning Finstead. Let's get back to the match again. Pranimani, what do you reckon about today you felt again Rabada being a miss. We understand that you do have a lot of you don't really have to take matchups that seriously when it comes to it, because we have criticized teams as well sometimes, and they really go overboard with the match. Surprisingly enough, you did not see the likes of Rabada play, and I think that's the second time this has happened, because I think it was against RCB as well, where Rabada had excellent matchups against the likes of Virat Kohli, Faf du Plessis, Dinesh Karthik, and Glenn Maxwell. When he was in play, it was Ellis who was preferred. And today, once again, surprisingly, it was Rabada who has a very good matchup against Rohit Sharma and Suryakumar Yadav in the IPL. Dismissed them collectively, dismissed them 5 times, Rohit Sharma twice, Suryakumar Yadav thrice. You reckon he could have been the difference? And especially because Suryakumar Yadav was one of the players who got away with it really.
Yeah, but I would agree with Dhawan to a certain extent. Like you mentioned, he picked Ellis because this surface suited him. And if you look at the figures, I think Ellis has done a pretty decent job as well, 2 for 34. But then again, Rabada is your X Factor player. You should have your X Factor players going into these sort of games. when you're playing Mumbai Indians, when you're playing Royal Challengers Bangalore, you have to get in your X factor players, and also if you have a positive matchup against certain batters, and Surya Kumar Yadav and Rohit Sharma are two of the key experienced batters in that Mumbai Indian setup. So you could have probably gone with a Rabada, but I feel Nathan Ellis too had a good matchup against one of the top order batters. I don't exactly remember correctly, but I think
But,
he
but,
had
but
a
my issue over there is Rabada is a more experienced pro.
yeah.
Rabada is a match winner in comparison with the Nathan Ellis
And
because
also, if you
on
compare Rabada's spell in the game where they
yeah
went on to go concede 257, Rabada did pick up 2 wickets. He did come on
yeah.
and pick up a KL Rahul, and then
I
came in
mean,
the
I
later
reckon
overs.
today was all about picking up an Ishan Kishan and a Surya Kumar Yadav. That was the difference in the game. And Shikhar Dhawan was right in pointing it
Hmm.
out as well. He couldn't use the spinners because of the dew, in excess amount of dew, and Ishan Kishan was batting because both their spinners was going to ball into the left-hander, and it was into the arc of Ishan Kishan as well. So one bad over, things could have been even more worse for the Punjab Kings. So that's
I
the
think they could have
reason.
used Liam Livingston. I think
But,
Liam
but but
Livingston
today
for one
Raza
more.
did not play is a very surprising thing for me. I do not know why. They should have
Yeah,
possibly gone with
yeah. I was
Raza.
just coming to that. Yeah.
I
I
think
think they
that would.
went with
And why
batting
is
depth.
it that whenever Rafa gives you a game, you get him out of the team?
But my point is this, why break something which ain't broken? I mean, Raza was doing a good job for you. You just won a game where he finished off for you in Chennai. Until unless there's an injury concern, I really do not know why didn't they not go for Raza. I mean, what did Matthew Shot not give you today? He gave you absolutely nothing. He just batted 110 strike rate, and that's not good enough at the end of the day.
I mean,
And to
that's the
add to
case.
that,
That has been the case with Punjab Kings, right? You have a team winning, and then you have two changes. I mean, Rabada also was dropped from today's game
ridiculous.
after the win. Yeah,
This is
I
why
mean,
this is a basic thing which you don't do, right?
yeah, it's something that is not orthodox, and it's I think it's just Travis Valley's way of coaching. I think it's not a surprise to me because he has done so much more
Yeah.
than that for KKR, but for Punjab Kings as well. I think this is just a approach of the coach, and this is how he goes about his business, and he loves to make those tactical calls and
It was a
tactical
tactical
changes when.
blunder, is what I'll just put it right there. Because you don't make such calls when you're winning. You can make such calls when you're losing a game, when you've lost a game. But Rabada and Sikandar also have been good for you. And Sikandar Azar, especially with the ball, he's just not a batter. He can give you that overs with the ball, right? And today, what I felt was if Ishan Kishan was facing a Sikandar Azar, he would have been in so much more trouble because Ishan Kishan struggles against genuinely tricky spinners, mystery spinners, a bowler who's bowling away from him, and that would have been the game. Even for Surya Kumar Yadav for their liking, a bowler who was slightly more quicker to him as a spinner, he tends to struggle slight bit. So these are factors. Even a we sitting outside can say it. I do not know what really went wrong, and yeah, so that's what happened.
Yeah, but I also think that
I mean, for me,
still
what
they
surprises me
yeah.
is the way he's been. Yeah, for me, what surprised me is the way he's being treated. Right, yesterday against, I mean, last night against CSK, he's the one who played that crucial knock, took you home. Before that, he was dropped when he's got a man of the match performance. So is it? It almost seems like if Sikandar Azar does a good job, then he gets dropped. As long as he's not doing a good job, as long as it doesn't come under radar of of the media, of the fans, he's going to stay in the team. What do you guys think of
Yeah,
that?
No, but I
I mean,
think
I do not
still,
know.
I mean, they
Well,
made the tactical call, right? They had the option of going to a Liam Livingston in the game. In the game, I think Liam
Yeah.
Livingston still taking the ball away from. He can take the ball away from. He could have taken the ball away from Ishan Kishan, taken the ball away from Surya Kumar Yadav as well. I think he would have been a good option in those middle overs. And also, I think Rishi Dhawan, after bowling two excellent overs, he was taken for plenty in the third one that he bowled. But he could have come in the middle overs and got completed his quota of 4 overs, because you could see that the overs 10 from 15, because Mumbai Indians were 85 for 2 at the end of 9.5. Then Ishan Kishan hit a 6 of the last ball of the
yeah,
10th over,
Yeah.
and then the barrage started. In the next 5 overs, they scored almost 85 runs, 85 runs. And I think one of those overs you could have at least tried a Liam Livingston or a Rishi Dhawan if nothing was working. It was Shikhar Dhawan was just, I mean, it was just a defensive captaincy. It was a nothing captaincy. I think he was very chilled, very very cool out there. He just wanted his death over bowlers to bowl in the death overs. No
Yeah.
experiment, nothing. I mean, no matter how many runs they give, no matter
yeah.
whether they are on form or not, they are going to give Arshdeep Singh 3 out of the last 5 overs. And Sam Curran is coming to bowl the 2 out of the last 4 overs. And I think that is where the game was already gone.
Yeah.
Yeah, I agree with Sandimani. It just seemed like Punjab had only plan A today, and their plan in B, C, D were just shelved for today's game. But yeah, Mohan says, Mohan is a Mumbai Indians fan, is a pretty happy man today. His team is just romped to victory. Absolutely brilliant job. And Smriti Jomon, as always. Abel, you are amazing. Well, yeah, we all know.
Thank
Pretty
you,
amazing
Smriti.
guy,
Thank
Abel,
you.
right here in the show. So yeah, let's talk about.
We
I
usually get
think not
Sandibani
much to
fans.
really talk about. Obviously,
Usually
this
it's
match.
Sandibani Fans Association who turn up in Barrage. We miss them.
Oh, don't do that. We've got a very strong following
Since
for Abel as well. That
since
is very
Exactly.
Sandibani
unfortunate
did
of
his
you.
eyebrows, it's been a while that we're seeing people not turn up.
Exactly. With so many
I think it's
haircuts
also
and
because of
stuff.
your hairstyle, Abel. Now,
Yeah.
now that Abel has got a haircut, he's got his fan base back. Sandivani's eyebrows are now a thing of the past. But yeah, let's talk about Suryakumar Yadav today as well, right? He played an excellent knock. When you have to give it to Ishan Kishan, he did a great job to carry his bat for 40, to play 41 balls and really play that
Yeah.
innings. But Suryakumar Yadav played what we know he can, or what at his destructive best, 66 of 31. You still feel, I mean, today, would you still be disappointed, Sandimani, that able rather that they were not able to finish the game and they left it to Tim David and Tilak Verma, or is it okay because they were going after the net
Yeah, I
run?
mean,
Or would that
Suryakumar
be too
Yadav did
harsh to say
accept
that
that in
one
the
of them?
post match as well, Jaren. I mean, Suryakumar Yadav did accept that in the post match as well, where
Yeah,
he was very disappointed that he couldn't finish it off like last time. So he's slightly disappointed that he's not able to stay in the finish line. But I have to admit that Suryakumar Yadav had already caused the damage. When he got out, yeah, you could have said that things were slightly iffy. You could have gone either way, but still, you were in control with Tim David and Tilak Verma yet to bat, and Ishan Kishan still there at the crease. So I still think Suryakumar Yadav, that was the innings needed from Suryakumar Yadav to take the game away, play that kind of a knock, create that impact, and finishing is for Tim David right now. And of course, it's good that he's feeling disappointed that he couldn't finish off. Every good batter should be there to finish it off, because once you have made the impact, that's what you have heard it from over the years, right? If you're doing a job there, you should be able to carry the bat and finish. You should be there at the finish line. But having said that, I also think the kind of support he got from Ishan Kishan on the other end, that really made Suryakumar Yadav to unleash himself and to play at his absolute best. This is Suryakumar Yadav we all know. Pick the gaps from different angles. It's not about just picking gaps. Pick the gaps from angles which you don't anticipate. The bowling side just sets up a field for you, and he picks a gap right in between the penetration of the field. So this is what you know Suryakumar Yadav for,
yeah.
and he's back. And with Suryakumar Yadav being back with this power pack batting unit, Mumbai Indians team as a batting unit look a lot more different, a lot more confident, and that's going to give them an extra bit of booster, especially chasing two scores in excess of 240. Now, all the teams across are going to take a note of it and be like, okay, let's just not put Mumbai Indians to bat second. We have to win the toss, bat first against them, because as a bowling lineup, Mumbai Indians are still a big issue. You know that you can chase scores against Mumbai Indians, so that's a major issue for Mumbai Indians. But as a batting unit, I still think Mumbai Indians can chase on any score on a given day because of the batting powerhouse they've got. Remember, Rohit Sharma is still not coming to the party. Now imagine if all of them fight together on one day. I still think that's going to be a crazy match to watch, and they could chase any possible score down, and that's what they're
But
backing
the
themselves.
kind of
They could.
team. Go ahead, go ahead.
They could.
Yeah, I mean, I was saying that kind of team that this is, the kind of batting lineup it is, if all five of them go well, then a few of them won't get chance to bat at all. I mean, if a Rohit Sharma starts going, he will not allow anyone else to play 20 overs. You won't see a Suryakumar Yadav come into bat if Ishan Kishan and Rohit Sharma go well. I mean, we saw that against KKR, for instance, when they both took on the power play. It didn't seem like the trouble for the ballers is going to be over. But yeah, I mean, I think it's pretty much it from today. I mean, from this match, the Mumbai Indians match. I know the CSK one did not have a conclusion, but still a lot of talking points. They did not play this match on the sixth pitch, the infamous sixth pitch. It was a pitch which was a different one today because most likely CSK were the one playing, but still didn't matter. It was still a cabbage patch, to quote the likes of Graham. Graham Swan. It was just one of those pitches where it was turning square right away. And if you guys saw that, if you guys want to know how the pitch was, just go back and check Jadeja's ball to Marcus Stoinis. That was some delivery. I mean, it turned, it bounced. There's nothing that Marcus Stoinis could do. I think it was just that kind of a delivery. He might as well have let it run its course rather than try and play a shot. But and it just seemed like Lucknow is struggling to play in Lucknow. Sandipani, what do you think they should do different now? Just you reckon Ekana is not the stadium for them, and they should try and change their base because Nicholas Pooran, I think in the previous match had gone out to say that he wishes Lucknow pitch was something like the Mohali pitch.
Yeah, I think, I mean, definitely the batters would feel Lucknow wanted a flat track, and especially with KL Rahul not being there,
Yeah.
you have a really inexperienced batting when it comes to tackling spinners. And I think in KL Rahul's absence, Ekana is going to be a nightmare for Lucknow, especially with the bat. But I think we only got to see one side of the story. I think Chennai Super Kings would have struggled as well because Lucknow also has a quality of spinners. Ravi Bishnoi would have been great, would have done great in these sort of conditions and loves playing against CSK. Amit Mishra was another candidate who would
Yeah.
do a good job. And also you had a Kunal Pandya
Oh, he
and
would have
Krishna.
he wasn't playing today. So they
Okay,
did
so
not
Krishnappa
have
Gautam.
Amit Mishra today. Was one of the questions. Yeah, but Krishna
Uh,
was there.
Krishnappa Gautam and
Go
Kunal
ahead.
Pandya. So they still had 12 overs of spin, right? So it was going to be 127 was going to be a tricky chase if CSK would have taken the field. All would have depended on how Devon Conway or Rituraj Gaikwad goes, because if you have Devon Conway or Rituraj Gaikwad play throughout without losing the wicket, they would have sailed through by the 18th or 19th over. Not sailed through. CSK would have won it CSK style, 19th or 20th over, slowly and steadily. But I mean, if they would have lost early wickets, this would have been a very tricky chase. So I think it's just one side of the story. But Lucknow Super Giants batters are really going to struggle at Ekana, and without KL Rahul, I don't think they have a chance. And but I would say this: I was really hoping that Mitchell Santner would get the game ahead of a Thikshana, and I think he would have done a better job because 2 wickets he picked up in the first over, but then he went on to concede 37 in the 4 overs. I think that would have been the deciding factor
Yeah.
if the entire game would have played out. So Mitchell Santner in these sort of turning pitches is a must. No matter if you have a Jadeja in the team, you sometimes you play with two leg spinners as well. So you can play with two left arm spinners who have a similar pace, similar. If you are struggling against Jadeja, you are bound to struggle against Santner as well. And Santner also gets through his overs really quickly. So it was a real surprise that they did not go ahead with him.
I mean, but that's how CSK management is, isn't it? They never ever let go of their player, regardless. Like they're completely opposite of a Trevor Bayliss. If a player is, even if a player is not getting man of the match performances, he will still get an opportunity. But I still agree with what Sandipani says, Abel. Tikshana, I was just going to come to the same point. He this for me, I still believe on a turning track when the ball turns, it stops a little. There's no better bowler. I mean, except for maybe there's no non-Asian bowler better than Mitch Santner to take advantage of these conditions. I still think today
Yeah.
he would have been a very good, very good asset in the team. Also, if you have someone like Mitch Santner, Mitch Chennai bat till number 9. So that would have even more added, what do you say, another dimension to that batting, especially on a pitch which was difficult to bat on, where you need those extra batters. Why do you still think Dhoni is sticking with Tikshana? Aside from that, the motto of CSK to not drop their players, do you see any other reason?
There are two. I only see one reason, that they don't want to be one dimensional in terms of the spin attack. They want to bring a little bit more variety with an off spinner, with a left arm spinner, and a mystery spinner. That creates a little bit of variety. And Tikshana hasn't done a bad job so far. If you look at Tikshana, he's picked up some important wickets in all of these games. Important means important batters, right? That really changes the course of the game. And maybe for the last game as well, he bowled pretty well against Punjab as well. He was really good. They tried to play Tikshana out against RCB as well. I remember he came out and picked Maxwell. So Tikshana hasn't done a bad job as a bowler. Even against KKR, he bowled very well. So if you have to pick up any particular reason to drop him, it could be just on tactics, just to bring in Mitchell Santner because of the conditions, and to also lengthen the batting. And I'm also very surprised that they're giving Deepak Chahar a go ahead, because Deepak Chahar doesn't look fit at this point of stage. But coming back to
Yeah.
Tikshana's question as well, maybe they'll maybe when they play in pitches like this more often. I don't think they'll get any other pitch in the country as bad as this, because just agricultural field, as I like to put it, it's just ridiculous for cricket. I hope they don't continue playing in that kind of pitch, because I'm not seen. I mean, I don't want to use a P word once again, but it is a bunch of peas playing on a farmland. So uh, that's what I would say. Peasants. It's just ridiculously bad. It's just so bad to be there. I mean, I've not seen something worse than that in IPL history. I mean, what is that pitch? Nobody can explain it. I've seen Chennai pitches over the years. I've seen Jaipur pitches, but nothing is as bad as as bad as this Ekana Stadium pitch. I don't even know why are they doing this, because they're just shooting themselves on their knees by doing this, because they're just taking away all the strength of this team
Yeah.
and giving it to the opposition team. And today, Sandeep, I did mention that we only saw one side of the story, but I still think Chennai would have found it slightly more comfortable chasing on this pitch compared to Lucknow Super Giants, because Lucknow Super Giants, or for that matter, any other team, has got a lot more stroke players. But Chennai Super Kings have got that crafty players, Ambati Rayudu for that liking, or Ruturaj Gaikwad, and even Devon Conway. These guys can do a job. Maybe Shivam Dubey, Ajinkya Rahane, all these lads would have slightly struggled, but other lads would have come. Even Jadeja for that liking would have really come into party. He likes to play in this kind of slower surfaces, especially in the longer format. We have seen him really graft through. So I don't think they would have really been troubled by this kind of a pitch. Maybe if they score 140, we never know in the last over, last 30 balls. Anything could have happened. Anything that's 135, that would have been slightly more challenging. But this kind of pitches should be prohibited. I really want a demerit point system for the IPL pitches, because if I was in control of that, I would have been giving them a -10. It's a ridiculous ground, ridiculous outfield, ridiculous pitch, and I'm not going to talk anything about the team.
No, I was really excited to see the back of Mohsin Khan, right? But unfortunately, did not get to see him today. But hopefully, in the next one, we'll definitely get to see a
But I'm
returning
excited for
Mo-
him. I'm genuinely happy for that guy, because now Unatkot is also injured and he's coming back after he's going to play his first match after last year's eliminator. So it's been a while since he has actually played a professional match, and it would have been good to see him. And unfortunately, the weather did not allow it. It's even raining here in Bangalore now. I think the Lucknow rain has come to Bangalore finally.
Yeah.
Also talking about Tikshana's figures, I think he has gone at an
Absolutely.
average on excess of 40 and an economy in excess of 8.2, economy of 8.24. So 6 game, 5 wickets. I would rather have Mitchell Santner back. I mean, be it tactical, be it form wise. I feel not even if you don't want to give Mitchell Santner a go ahead, probably get in another all rounder, get in Rajvardhan Hangarkar, because it was surprising not to see him after and get and Akash Singh get the nod ahead of him, because he started off the season well, did not come in at all after that. So they can probably use that impact substitute for a foreign player and then get in Rajvardhan in place of Tikshana, because Tikshana is not actually a mystery spinner right now, because he's not that difficult to read of the hand. And also he has not been in
Yeah.
the best. His line and lengths have not been the very best.
I mean, it's become very predictable as well. It's just got that carom ball, and his
Also, he's
pace is
become
definitely
a
not helping him a lot.
he's also become a liability. Yeah, he's also become a liability on the field as well.
I
Dhoni is
agree.
someone who likes quick fielder, so it just seems at this point in time that in all three departments, Mitch Santner would be an improvement over Tikshana. I mean, Tikshana has done an exceptional job for CSK in the last season, but this season he just doesn't look like himself. And maybe it's time that
And
the
to think of
rope
it,
that has been given to Tikshana comes to him, because
think
yeah,
of it really, because you did not have you have seen CSK play with both Mitchell Santner and Ravindra Jadeja when they had far better options than a Mitchell Santner in the team. You could see Dhoni persisting with Mitchell Santner in the previous seasons, where he used to come in after Jadeja, after Dhoni, and then finish some of the games with the bat as well. So it's surprising to see them give a Tikshana the nod ahead of a Mitchell Santner when they have already gone ahead with this combination of Jadeja and Santner
I think
bowling in
what
tandem.
CSK will be doing after this year is go for one more overseas spinning option, or maybe an Indian proper spinning option. But I think they'll go for an overseas spinning option, maybe an Sori or someone of that sort. And Leggy is what they'll prefer going to, because a Leggy would give them a little bit more variety in comparison with a Tikshana, in case if next season as well Tikshana doesn't get off the blocks pretty well, then they can bring in a primary bowler who's a wicket taking option like an Ish Sori or any other leg spinner out there, Risti, who can come and do a job, which Imran Tahir used to do for Chennai Super Kings for a lot of years. So that's one area which they'll really like to fill in.
I mean, I would like to see them try someone like Prashant Solanki. He's got a very good reputation in the domestic circuit.
I mean, I was very
He's also an
surprised he got a
Indian.
nod ahead today at least. He should have been the player who should have played today.
Yeah, because I feel that adds even more to your, you can probably get in an Indian batter as well, or rather a foreign batter as well, maybe someone like Dwayne Pretorius if that's the case. Because I mean, at this point in time, Tikshana, I genuinely think isn't adding as much value because again, as Santimani said, 37 runs today. The last in over that he balled could have been the difference between the two teams today. and Badoni really got going in that over itself. I felt today's pitch was a pitch where you if you're bowling quick, you have to ensure you bowled on that just a bit behind the full length delivery. The one where Jadeja was bowling time and time again. I just felt Tikshana was on the wrong side of it. Either he bowled too full or too short, which allowed Badoni to play the sweep, the slog sweep, or go on the back foot and smack him over that cow region, cow point region. So that's also the issue with him, right? He balls pretty short most often than not. When he balls full, he's very, very successful. The 2 wickets that he got was full length deliveries where he hit the top of off. One that hit the top of off against Manan Bora, and then the very next ball where he made sure that Krunal Pandit had to prod on the front foot and got an edge as well. So that's the one issue that Tikshana has had. His length has been the biggest issue. But having said that, that's pretty much it for today's game. I mean, the 2 games today. It was a double header. Tomorrow again, we have the Hyderabadi biryani versus the Kolkata biryani. Sandipani is going to be obviously choosing one side of it. But until then, make sure you guys download
Kolkata biryani really good.
I'm going to choose the better biryani. Yeah, Kolkata biryani is the best. I mean, you get a potato with the biryani.
Where can I find it, bro? I mean, I really want to find it.
In Bangalore, you come to my place. I'll arrange it for you.
All right, come in. So this is officially done.
Sandipani
I'm going to Sandipani's place for having. So, bro, if you want to have good Hyderabadi biryani, you can ring me up as well. I'll take you to some good place in Bangalore. So it's not a bad idea. Or Kerala biryani for that liking is also pretty.
Definitely not tomorrow. Definitely not tomorrow. Tomorrow I'm having Kolkata biryani.
So how it works is if Kolkata wins, you're treating me with a Kolkata biryani. And if Hyderabad wins, I'll take you to a good Hyderabadi biryani spot.
Sure. I love how you start betting right away. I mean, we can wait for Boomer 11 to do that.
Yeah, guys.
Yes, absolutely, guys. You might not be winning a Kolkata or a Hyderabadi biryani, but you've got better rewards on Boomer 11. If you guys invest no matter how high a league you go into or a competition you go into, you're not going to be losing any money. It's just virtual coins, but the rewards are definitely real. So you can get it on Apple App Store and Google Play Store. But thank you guys for joining us today. And from the 3 of us, have a great night today.
Yeah, that's what Satyabaz Jaran says at the end of the day.